Hey everybody, it's Mr. Buro from Staten Tech, and I am going to be preparing you for the Certiport Certified User Exam for AutoCAD using our in-house prep material. In order for this video to be useful to you, you should have a downloaded copy of the latest prep material. Okay, so right now what you're looking at is the blank screen of AutoCAD. In order to be successful here, when you're taking the Certiport test, I think the first thing everybody should do is in the view area, turn the properties on, or you could just type PROP. And here you will see my folder with Certiport material in it. There are 23 different examples here. Some of them have just a PDF, and some of them have a DWG and a PDF, as you can see. I have right now opened this, which is called the Buro book, and that's a 23-page file of all of the PDFs. Let me start with page 1. The first question asks us to make a new drawing using the regular AutoCAD template to change the length units to 0.00 or 2 decimal places, and then to report distance between A and B. A being the endpoint of this line, and B being the endpoint of the line that's tangent to this particular arc. Okay, so first I'm going to start right here with a drawing, and I'm going to draw this bottom line and then this one over here. As you can see, this line here has a length of 16 once you subtract 17.82 minus 1.82. So we're going to go over 1.82 first, and then over another 16. Take a look. I'm going to pick to draw with a line. I'm going to color it yellow just to mark it as a guideline. So I'm going to pick anywhere on my space. I'll just pick right here, and I will do a 1.82, comma 0 to make that particular line segment of 1.82. Then I will switch my color to regular, and then go over 16, so 16, comma 0. And then I'm going to go up 11.23, so that's 0, comma 11.23. Now I have these two lines done, which are these two. Then I have a radius 5 arc right here. I'm going to draw it as a circle 5 units in from this endpoint. So take a look. Go back to yellow and draw my line from here, 5 units left, so negative 5, comma 0. Switch back to regular, draw a circle from here, just snap it to the edge. Now I'll go back to the other side where I'm going to draw this line. This line is going to be from that particular point upward and left. So it's going to be left negative 1.82 and upward 4.44. So I'll click here and go negative 1.82, comma 4.44 using relative input. Now I'm at that point, and then my last connection is simply a tangential connection to here. So I'm going to use a tangent snap. Make sure your tangent snap is on inside your snap list. So I'll look for that icon. That's a nearest snap. This is a quadrant snap. That is a tangent snap. So that's what I need. Now I'm going to clean it up. I'm going to delete this. I'm going to delete this. And I will trim this. So that's my complete figure. And since it's not joined and I made it with regular line segments, I could simply click this and it will tell me its length right here, 13.6182. But let's not forget that the test is asking me to set the units to 2 decimal places and then report the distance. This is the only question where it's actually asking me to change the drawing units. Drawing units can be changed here in drawing utilities and then units. This dialog will pop up, or I could simply type the word units and that dialog comes up again. I'm going to change that length precision to 2 decimals. And again, I'll click here and it will tell me that distance right there. Or we could use our trusty measuring tools over here. For the entire test, you're going to be using 2 of them. The distance measuring tool and the area measuring tool. Distance, of course, is for linear distances. I'll click here and then the other endpoint there. And it will tell me that distance here and here. But the other one, the area one, is what you would use for both area and perimeter. So when you click an object with area and perimeter, like say something that looked like this, you get an area and perimeter, even though it says it's an area function, which is something that is very, very strange, but it works. Area and perimeter, by the way, would also be reported in the geometry area of the properties. So that's it for this question. Back on the exam, you would type the distance, which was like 11.60 something. Let's move on to page 2, which is question number 2. It's right here. This one has a corresponding CAD file. So I'll go to my area here and I'll open up the CAD file. Directions are on here as well. The blue boxes that you see are my notes, but things that are written in white are meant to mimic the test questions. And of course, the PDF mimics the test browser. So it says all circles and triangles on layers A, B, and C. Some of the shapes have had their color changed from by layer, and you need to know what layers the shapes are on. The question says, select the geometry on layer A, and how many shapes have you selected? So that's what we're going to be reporting to the test itself, but you still have to do what it says. I have to select all the geometry on layer A. The easy way to do this is simply just to go to the layers and turn off B and C. And then by doing that, we could just select them very quickly. Then while I'm doing this, I'm going to start counting them. I have 1, 2, 3 on top, 3 more over here, which is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So the 17 total shapes. And as you can see, they are different colors. So I could not have relied on the fact that the color of layer A is magenta and B is red and C is green. There are a mixture of shapes here. But as you can see, as I select this green shape, it's on layer A. And if I select these 2 red shapes, they're on layer A. So you can't rely on that. The other thing that it makes reference to is the count function. So let me turn back those layers. So now all the layers are on again. And if I use the count function, which you could access by just typing the word count, you can choose to count by layer properties. So I'm going to count by layer A, and I'm going to include it in a selection set. And by doing that, it's done in one shot. All items are selected, and you see the number 17 reported at the bottom of the screen. So that's pretty convenient, but not a traditional thing you would do. Traditionally, just turn off the other layers and count by hand. Let's keep things simple when you take this test. Here's number 3. Number 3 is about inserting a block. I'm going to be inserting the computer block vertically, centering it on the midpoint of the side of the desk, and horizontally centering it on the center point of the chair seat. So this is a little complicated, the way it's explained, but it'll make more sense when we get to it. So let's open up file number 3. Here's file number 3. We see a desk and a chair. It says I'm going to insert the computer block, and it's going to be centered vertically on the midpoint of the side of the desk. So let me draw some lines as guidelines. Here's the midpoint of the side of the desk. I'm just going to bring it right across. And then I'll repeat that command, and it says horizontally centering it at the center point of the chair. So here's the center of the chair. I'm going to bring that up. So I've now created a mark in which will be the center of the computer. So I go to Insert. Here, I pick the computer block, and then I bring the computer block in, and it snaps perfectly where I need it to be. And then lastly, it says to report the distance between A and B, which would be the back of the chair to the upper right-hand part of the tower. So I'll pick to measure by distance and pick the back of the chair and the upper right hand part of the computer tower, which is 7.76. They need it to 3 decimal places. My units are still set, unfortunately, the wrong way. So I'll change them again, but on the test, you only have to change them once, probably. That's my estimation. So there we go. There's out to 4 decimal places, which is enough for you to manually round it. Okay, so very important. I'll remind you that blocks have 1 insertion point. This block happens to be the center of itself. So there's not any question what you should be doing. Certiport number 4 is this one. I need to reposition the star by rotating it around point R. So point R is the lower left-hand corner. Let me open up that drawing, which is right here. So it says I'm going to need to rotate it 5 degrees clockwise for it to be in the correct position. Clockwise, I'll remind you guys, that's a negative direction. It's an unnatural direction for CAD. So normally degrees that are positive are meant for counterclockwise movement. We're going to go clockwise 5 degrees. So that would be me typing either a -5 or a 355. I'll do that. The star is now in the correct position, and it's supposed to measure between points A and B, which, as you can see, are the left point of the star and the midpoint of this particular pentagon. So I'll go ahead and do that. Left point of the star, midpoint of the pentagon. And it comes out to 12.18, which is good enough for this. That's a pretty easy one. Let me start cleaning up these files. We're going to be moving on to number 5 now. Let me change the units here in case I have to reuse this page. Number 5 is pretty easy. You're going to be doing something on the printer when done. So this PDF file, and you access it, it has like highlighted areas that you're going to be changing. That's not what it'll look like on the test. So when I just open up the file, you'll see what it says. Whoops, that's number 6. Sorry about that. So again, I'm going to open up the file. Let's see what it says. It says, switch to the Plot Me Layout tab to see a preview of the drawing as it would appear with the following settings. So here are the layout tabs. This is the wrong one. I want the Plot Me Layout tab. And in the Plot Me Layout tab, it says just to do these things. So I'm going to open up the printer dialog by going to Print. Printing single sheets here. Okay, first thing, switch the printer from nothing to DWG to PDF. It's probably going to prompt me about page sizes here. Nope, that's good. Then I have to change the plot style to AutoCAD CTB. Then I have to change the plot area to extents. And then finally, I have to change the plot offset to be centering. Right now, the plot offset is set for 0 in both the X and Y direction. But if I click the center the plot button, you'll see that it does automatically calculate how to center the material that's on the page. And it gives me this Y value of -0.007 or -0.008 if you round it to the 3rd decimal place. The test also asks me to run the print preview. Some people will question, does the test know if I'm running the print preview? Yes, I think it does. Please be diligent and do everything the test asks you to do. It's not really ever going to ask you to do anything weird. So if I hit preview, you'll see a print preview pop up. This looks good to me. I'm going to close it down, and I'll go back to the exam, and I will report this Y value to the 3rd decimal, and that's it. No problem. Number 6, which I have open already, says use grip editing to resize the table to fit the new boundary, which is the red dashed line. So this is a table. CAD can do tables. And once I click it, you'll see the grips all light up, and I have to resize it so it fits this red boundary. It's pretty easy. Just going to grab on this lower grip, and as you can see, it stretches and gives you a preview of it in real time. I'm going to snap it right on here, and then it says to report the distance between A and B. So here we go. A is the lower left-hand corner of the teacher box, and B is the lower right-hand corner of the teacher box, and then the lower right-hand corner of the period box on the second to last line. So I'm going to measure those two things. And again, I have to make sure my units are proper. We'll do that measurement from here, that intersection, to here. And that's 10.3348. That's an easy one. Actually, I missed it right there. You can see I missed it. But whatever. You get the idea. Let me close that down. So on to number 7. Number 7, pretty simple. We see a picture and then a description of what to do. The description of what to do will result in this picture. The test paper will always tell you what it's supposed to look like and then describe how to get there. I'm going to be chamfering the lower left-hand corner of the figure using a distance of 5, which is probably going to create that line there. And then I'm going to be filleting the 5 vertices. So this, and this are all fillets with a radius of 2. So let's open up file number 7. And yes, as you can see, it's a non-chamfered and non-filleted. So I'm going to chamfer the lower left-hand corner distance of 5. Chamfer is in the the modify menu underneath the fillet. And then I'm going to set the distance here to 5. You have to do chamfer distances twice, so make sure you hit enter twice. Select the first line, which would be this. The second line is this. That's the lower left-hand corner. Get a nice preview of what it's going to look like. And then I'll switch to fillet, set my fillet radius to 2, and then I will go ahead and hit all of the vertices. This one's going to look very shallow, but they all have a nice radius of 2. I'm using the spacebar to repeat the commands as I go around the object. And that's it. So there's the whole figure. Now I have to report the perimeter of the object. I'm going to click on it, and as you can see, it's one piece. If it wasn't one piece, I'd have to use the join command to make sure it's a solid piece. By clicking on it with my property window open, I see this word length right underneath the area, but I do know that that word length actually means perimeter in the property box, and it's reporting 44.3237, which would round to 44.328. I'm sorry, 324, which would be exactly the third decimal place that I need. If I needed to do that using the measurement tool, I would click on the area measuring tool. Even though it's asking me for perimeter, I'm going to click the area measuring tool, and then I have to click the word object over here to be able to select the exterior. And it does report the area, but I only need the perimeter. Perimeter is going to be the second number that's being reported. Again, I'm 44.324. So that's it. Pretty simple. And let's remember also, the test paper shows the end result. But in the beginning, I was given this. And I had to do these steps to get there. Moving on. Number 8. This is a very intricate pattern. As you can see, there's a lot of array action going on here. But when you open up the file, you'll see that most of it's done already. And it says simply to create the pattern of 12 equally spaced panels. So I'll grab that panel, activate polar array, snap to a center, put 12 items on. There are my 12 items. Let me close up the array. It says to report the distance between A and B to 4 decimals. We do that unit check again. And A is the center of the leftmost circle. B is the uppermost part of the first panel past the vertical line. Go to the vertical axis. So I'm going to measure distance from here to here. 19.4774. Next is this one. This one's pretty easy. It says create a hexagon using the feature of circumscribed. If you're not familiar with this, every time you create a polygon inside AutoCAD, you have to choose whether or not it is circumscribed or inscribed inside the radius that you specify. So this circle you normally would not see, but it's just there to show you that you are creating a hexagon circumscribed about the radius that's specified. So I'm going to pick polygon, which normally appears underneath rectangle. And I'll pick 6 sides for hexagon. It says that it should have a horizontal top and bottom. So once I click over here, I pick my circumscribed option. You can see that the hexagon can be placed in like an infinite number of positions. But if I do my snapping, you'll see if I use a right quadrant snap or a left quadrant snap, it's pointy on top and bottom and flat on left and right. I need the opposite of that. So I'm going to snap to the top quadrant or the bottom quadrant to create that flat top and flat bottom, which is what it's being asked for. Next, I need to just simply report the area to 2 decimals. So I'll click area and then click object and then just click on the object. And there it is. Area 95.48. Again, you could always use those properties. 95.48 is written right there in the properties whenever you need. This is like the secret weapon of Certiport right there, is to have the property window open all the time. Please remember that I said that. Secret weapon of Certiport is the property window. Next, number 10. This one's a little bit tough to see because of the colors, but you'll see it on the file when I bring it up. What you're looking at here is a 3-view drawing with an isometric. And we're just going to be analyzing the properties of that particular line. So let me open up number 10. Here we go. It says the line in the top view of the figure is not displaying the correct color and line type, and it's on the wrong layer. So we want to make sure we represent that line properly because it's representing the edge of that bottom surface that's invisible for the top view. And therefore it becomes a hidden line, by the way. So I'm simply going to click the line. I don't really care about its current properties. I do know that it's got to be line type property by layer, color property by layer, and on a hidden layer. So this, which is currently yellow, I'm going to change to by layer. That's the color. Here's the line type to by layer. And then finally, the layer itself, I'm going to switch to hidden. And as you could see, that line takes on the properties of the hidden layer and it becomes magenta, and it becomes a dashed line, which is a hidden line inside CAD. The question, lastly, will ask me, which is the correct line type of the layer? And of course, I would pick multiple choice answer B if this was a real question. Number 11 is a strange one. I have this devilish smiley face here, and it says scale the evil face to have a distance between A and B of 6.66. Well, here's point A and B. It's the 2 flame tips of the eyeballs. Let me open up number 11. Here's the picture, and you can see the doctor has visited us with his tea. So, just to show you, the distance between the 2 flame tips is currently 12, but I'm going to make it 6.66 using the scale by reference option. And then directions are printed over here in case you need them. But what you need to do is you need to pick the scale command, select the objects, accept your selection, then you're going to want to pick one of the 2 flame tips as your base point. Doesn't matter which one. Once I click that, the scaling feature comes alive. And it's all based on that one base point. However, I'm going to reject that and pick reference. By doing that, you're going to be performing the scale not based on a universal reference, but rather the reference from one flame tip to the other. which, like I said, is currently 12. But now, as you can see, once I do that click, as I move my mouse, I'm now measuring the distance between the two flame tips. So it's like there are 2 points of reference here, which makes it perfect. And I'm not going to do this with my mouse. I'm going to do it with the keyboard and simply type 6.66, hit enter, shrinks down a little bit, but now I can check that the distance in between the flame tips is indeed 6.66. And then I get to report what they want me to report, which is the distance between the the flame tip here and the upper left-hand corner of the mount, which is 7.60 between C and B. Next, number 12. This is an easy one. It says there's a yellow border outside. Unfortunately, I had made it red. That's a typo on my part, my bad. But all I have to do is determine the length of the inner blue border. So that should be just a matter of seconds. I'm going to open up that problem. Here we go. And I'm going to check when I click this blue border. As you can see, it's an entire continuous piece. If it wasn't, you'd be using the join command to make it a continuous piece, because there's no way you're checking the perimeter or area of that figure without doing that first. It says the length of the blue border, so that is perimeter, and that, of course, is being reported already right here as 31.352. If I wanted to use the measurement function, of course, I would pick area and then select the object. We could right-click that too. And then once I pick this, it'll highlight in green, it'll report the area, but I need the length or the perimeter of 31.352. Very simple. We're going to move on to number 13. This one's short. It says to create new circles from those marked A and B. So once again, this is showing the result already. So let's get that file open. Here we are. As you can see, there's 2 circles on top, but not the bottom 2 circles. So those are the ones I'm going to be creating. And it specifically says, excuse me, to use the midpoints of the elongated slot. So that's going to be the midpoints over here. I'll grab the 2 shapes in the selection. I'll pick mirror. Do what it said. I'll pick that midpoint and this midpoint. Do I want to erase the source? It didn't tell me to do that, so I'm going to hit no. So now I have the 2 more circles down there, and it will ask me to measure the distance between the center of circle C and the center of circle A. Distance measure from this center to this one, and that is a distance of 11, which you're going to report out to 4 decimal places on the exam. Don't type 11, type 11.0000. Next question, number 14. For here, I am going to actually draw this slot on the figure. This can be done many, many different ways. As long as I'm following these guided directions or dimensions for where it's going to be, doesn't matter how it gets done. Let me bring up this file, number 14. So number 14, you have no slot being visible and no dimensions are visible. So I'm going to flip back and forth a few times. I think in order to draw this particular slot, I'm going to need to know where to go first. And I know the center of the first circle, whose radius is 1, is 4.5 units down from the top and 6 units down from the over from the right side of the to the right from the left side of the figure. So 4 down and 6 over from the left side. So that's what I need to do. I'm going to go to CAD and I'm going to draw some lines. I'm going to take this point here and extend it all the way out with ortho. And I'm going to take this point here and extend it all the way up with ortho. And what that did was it gave me this position right here. This point here is where I'm going to be measuring down 4.5. Because as you can see, everything is aligned with the edges of those two slots. So I'll take my line and I'll go down 4.5. That's 0, negative 4.5. There it is. I'll switch to regular drawing, draw a circle. Radius is 1. And then I will copy that circle down 3.45 from the center. So down is 0, negative 3.45. Circles there. Now I'll just draw some lines connecting the quadrants, which will be tangent. Take my trim command, cut out those pieces, erase the yellow pieces. My slot is there. It wants the perimeter of the slot. When I click this, it's broken. So this length is not going to do it for me. What I got to do is I got to click all 4 pieces and join them with the join command. Now, if I click it, it does give me a full length of 13.1832. That's what I need. I could also, of course, do the area function and pick object and now pick this. But that could not be done without joining the figures. You have to join the figures first. Very important. Number 15. Number 15 is a quick one. You're going to have to use the properties here to give you the area of the hatch. All we're going to do is create the hatch, do what it says, which is a stars pattern and a scale of 5, and then we're going to report the area of the hatch. No hatch is available. I'm going to zoom up so the figure is fully visible. Click the hatch command. Pick this open area. It did fill it properly. I'll go to the pattern drop down and look for stars, which is here, by name. And then I will change its scale to 5. And that should be it. I can now, of course, pick the area function and pick object, and then click on the hatch. That gives me 86.8611. Or I could, of course, just click on the hatch, and here it says geometry area 86.8611. Again, pretty easy. Let me close those down. Let's do 16. 16 asks me to go to a layout view called Specs A, fix spelling errors, and then add text. Pretty easy. Let's go to number 16. Here we are. I'm going to switch to Specs A. Fix spelling errors and add the following text. So here's the text. Double click it to edit it. Right away I see this is lit up red. Fix that. Fix this. And then I'm going to add the words type or copy these words after the word edited. Type or copy these words after the word edited. Period. Click away. It says without changing properties, very important, without changing properties, how many lines of text would there be after that's completed? That's just 3 lines. And that's what I will report on the test. Right over here on the test paper, it'll ask me how many. I type the word 3 and that's it. Can't get easier than that. Number 17, this one's a little weird. We're using the same computer file again, but this time we're going to be inserting the chair, and we're going to be inserting the chair at a scale of 2.5 in the X direction only. It's a little weird, but certainly doable. Let's open up file number 17. Here's number 17. There's no chair in the picture yet. Computer's in the position. It says I have to place the midpoint of the back of the chair at the midpoint of the wall. That's going to be a problem to do in one step. So let's just get the chair out there. I'll go to insert, pick the chair. It inserts normally with the 1-to-1 scale, but before me clicking anywhere, I'm going to just go to the X over here, or I'll right click and pick X here, and then I'll change the X scale factor to 2.5. As soon as I hit enter, you'll see that the chair has indeed swelled significantly. I'm going to place the chair down because the snapping point for the chair happens to be the front top. And now I'll just pick the move command and move the chair with respect to the midpoint of its back to snap it to this midpoint. And then I have to measure between A and B to the nearest thousandth, A being the midpoint of the side of the chair and B being the midpoint of the side of the desk. So I'll just go to here, pick distance, measure from this midpoint to this midpoint. Of course, I'd have to give it in 4 decimals, so I'd change the units again here. But remember, you're probably not going to have to do that on the test more than once. So that's it for this one. 18 is this one. I simply have to create the dimension shown and report the value. This dimension, if I analyze it, looks like it's coming from an endpoint of this line segment where it meets the fillet, and then also the endpoint of the line segment and the endpoint of the center line down here. So from here to here, I think those are even in alignment vertically, which they are. So let's go to 18. There it is. I'll pick linear dimension. I can do that from here. I got that endpoint. And here. You can see it's 8.75. Pretty straightforward. Doesn't say anything about putting it on layers or coloring or anything like that. You simply have to report this value of the dimension on the test paper. Number 19, this is simple. It says adjust the model to appear as it does in this document. You'll have to turn a layer off, and which one did you turn off? Here's the end results. I have a purple hatch pattern with a hexagon, honeycomb pattern, and then 2 empty circles here. I'll have to take note of the scales as well. Here's number 19. Looks the same, except the 2 circles are filled. Let me double check. Yes. So I simply have to turn off the layer that has these circles. They're both yellow, but I'm going to click one of them anyway. And by clicking one of them, I can see that it's on the ANSI layer, ANSI. So I'll go to the layer drop-down box without even selecting the hatch. And I will turn off that layer. And yes, that did work. Looks exactly the way it does on the test paper now. And I'll answer on the exam the ANSI layer, which is ANSI. I'll either have to type it or pick it from like a multiple choice. So that's 19. Almost done. Let's go to 20. Number 20 is just a quick copy thing. I have to copy slot A exactly 4 units left. So this is slot A, and I'm going to copy it 4 units left. It's one piece. I'll pick it. I'll pick copy. I'll measure from the center of this circle. Slide my mouse over just to see what it looks like. Then I'm going to type -4, 0, as my copy location. It's 4 units left and no units up and down. It appears right there. And then I have to report the distance from the center of B to the center of the new slot where the center mark would have been. So center of this circle and this center mark on the new slot. I didn't even copy the center mark, by the way, but I don't need to. So I'm just going to use a center snap. So I'll do measuring from here to here. 7.4857 is what my answer would be. That wasn't so bad. Let's go to 21. Here's 21. This is a strange one. This is a path array. So I'm going to create this path array. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 rows of these dots with 3 levels. Not going to be a big deal. The only part that's going to be weird is me measuring over here the 1 and the 1.4 because it's the way it's described. So let's open up that file. Here we are. I'll pick path array. Pick the circle. Pick the line right next to it for the path. There we go. Now I need 3 rows, which is that. Way too many circles here, but I still have yet to adjust these things. Horizontal adjustment is going to be 1.5 and 1 unit vertically. So as you can see, like this looks like a horizontal adjustment here. And that's 1.4 in between. 1.4. And that definitely moved things appropriately. And then the distance vertically, we're going to just set to 1. It's going to spread them out a little bit more. All right, so that's perfect. Now I just got to measure between A and B. I'll refresh you. B is the lower left, A is the upper right. So I'll pick measure, lower left, upper right, and there we go. It's 11.6597. Number 22, I have to draw something. I'm going to draw this figure using relative input, which is what I've been doing. Not going to be a big deal for this. And then I report the area to 2 decimal places. All right, so I'm going to start right here for this one. Using relative input, I can draw this diagonal line by saying it's over 10 and up 3. Over 10 and up 3. Let's get a new file. Or I'll just use the same one here. Let me erase this. Okay, so pick a line from here. I'm going to going right 10, comma 3 for up. So that's the first line. Next line appears to go from 3 to 6, so that's a height of 6. And how far to the right does it go? I can tell that pretty easily. This is 10 up to the point, and as you can see, it starts at the same place as the 12, and that would be 2 units more. So this will be 2 more units. So I'm going to go up 6, from 3 to 9 is 6, and to the right 2. Up 6, right 2. So type 2, comma 6. 2 for right, 6 for up. Next one, I have to go left 12 spaces. Pretty simple. So I type in negative 12, comma 0. That's done. Next is left 2, down 4. And then I'm just going to connect it afterwards. Left 2, down 4, and then connect. So left 2 is negative 2, down 4 is negative 4. And then I will simply click it to close it. I could have also, of course, just typed down 5, right 2. No big deal. So that's number 22. I need to report the area of the figure. I did draw it with line segments, so I will select all of it and hit join first. And then I'll simply click on the object and it gives me the area of exactly 90. Could do the measurement, of course, and it'll give me the same thing, 90. And then for the last question, which is this one, I have to perform the stretch command. So I'm going to be stretching this object that's drawn in red 4 units to the right. And then I'm going to measure the new perimeter. Pretty easy. So let's open up CAD number 24. I'm sorry, 23. Pick stretch. With stretch, first time we're doing it today for the review, I'm going to start over here, sweep it to the left. I'm going to make sure my green selector box breaks those lines that are pointed at by A and B, because those are the parts that I want to stretch. Press enter. Then I need a base point. Base point does not matter much for stretching, but I'll be diligent and I'll pick that center point. And I'm going to go over 4 units. So that's going to be 4, 0. And that's it. That's the figure. Stretched properly. Click on it because it's already joined. The perimeter would be 42.473. 42.473. Through the area function, I'm just going to click it and get the same thing. Perimeter is 42.473. So that's it. Those are all 23 Certiport in-house prep questions. In my opinion, that'll be more than enough for you to do well on the certification test. We've created those based on a lot of feedback that we've received over the years and had a lot of great success using those, again, for many years already. So please use this video as much as you like. Pause it, rewind it, do it all you got to do to make sure you have a solid understanding of everything. And with that PDF file, it's 23 pages. You're going to want to just go through these 23 pages and say to yourself, am I familiar with this question? And if you're familiar with the question, then I think you're good. Okay? So use this as much as you like, and good luck on the test. Thank you very much.